Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name's Kayla. I'm the lead investigator of the St. Louis crew, and with me today I've got.
Oh, lead Zach. Da da da.
Alright. We have a lot to talk about. Basically, the entirety of our schedule from last year, how it went, and a little bit about what we're doing this year, as well as the investigation we've already done this year and the new series we're doing. I hate how I'm glowing. I don't know why I'm doing that. I think it's my window. It's coming in so bright. It's making me glow. Anyway.
Yeah, you could see. Look at my arm; it disappears.
Yeah.
You still recorded?
Yeah, no, I'm going. We're good. I'm
Okay.
waiting for you to talk.
Okay.
Mineral
Uh,
Springs.
like I was gonna say before Middle Springs, we did have a episode that I guess we recorded it after Middle
Yeah,
Springs.
we did. It was right after.
But so we have technically already talked about it, but our recording got messed up.
And so we
So
never posted it. So we're going to talk about it again in briefer detail.
yay, yay!
Because we have a lot more to talk about now, so we don't need to
Yeah.
stretch out Mineral Springs.
So from our experience at Middle Springs, the people there seemed pretty nice.
Yep.
I do have a complaint, and that was that they got another guy booked the same night we went for his
Yeah.
dinner and talk show.
Yeah, so
Um,
just a little recap on that. So we had our investigation booked for months. Like I think we booked it back in like April or May, and it was for August. So a long time. Day of comes around, and this is like we've already paid half the deposit. We're paying the other half that night. That's typically how most places do it, or they will do like a week before the investigation. You pay the rest, something along that.
yeah.
And she first off she called me, but we've mentioned this before. All of us have day jobs outside of this. Like we don't make any money from this, so
Yeah, it's nonprofit.
yeah. And so she she called me and I was working, so I couldn't answer, so she emailed me. And so on my break, that's typically when I check my emails for outside activities that I do, because believe it or not, we do receive a lot of emails. And I saw that she had emailed me, and she's like, hey, I totally forgot that this guy does his like history stuff on this day. Do you still want to come tonight? At this point, like by August, we have our schedule packed.
Yeah, by that time, at the least every other weekend, we were doing something.
Even if it wasn't a full private investigation, we're doing
And
something.
with our schedules, one of our guys that you guys might know, Wes, at least with that job, he was working every other week, and so it's kind of hard to throw in an investigation when he's working that day.
Yeah,
We've still done it, but it's a lot harder to
it
work around.
is like I work at the hospital and I work on Saturdays, and most of our investigations are on Saturdays. So it's like being dead tired when you go there, and then so having two team members that are dead tired is just like not a good combination.
And I'm
But
off every weekend, so I'm over here like, let's go, everybody.
so anyway, so we basically told her that we didn't have much of a choice, that we were going to have to do tonight. So we worked out that we would stay later in the night, which we didn't actually
Nope.
utilize.
I
I think
mean,
we
we
left around
probably
2 o'clock.
shit, maybe.
It was around 2. We
I
were
feel like
packing
it was
up
like
by 1.
1:30.
Well, we were packing up by 1, but I don't think we actually left until closer to 2, because we
I
have a
know we
lot to
called it
pack up.
quits at like 1:30.
Yeah. So,
Um,
the scariest. Okay, since then, I do think that we need to update a little bit from the video they never saw. So this will be the first time. So the things that was weird. There were two major things that happened that was kind of weird. So the first one was we had just bought a new REM pod that was supposed to detect EMF, and you could turn down the sensitivity if you're in a building with electricity, and it's supposed to prevent false positives in a building with electricity. It was very nice, but since it was our first time using it, it kept going off when we were in the pool area. And we were like, why? And so we were like trying to debunk it. And I think we were like, yeah, it's debunked. And then we're like, this is a stupid piece of equipment because it keeps going off. And then
Anywhere else it
it's
has not went
never
off.
gone off. So only there it's gone off. But
So,
since it was our first time, we were like, this is dumb. We got ripped off. We were kind of
so,
mad.
but like, I still don't trust it completely. But I will say it's a lot more weird. I still will say it's more debunked than not. But
I think that if it so what it's supposed to do, what it was doing there, it was like kind of chirping, so it'd go boop 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 every once in a while. What it's supposed to do is kind of like create a song when somebody's holding over it, kind of like so we got a new REM pod since then, and that one has gone off one time, where it was a positive. We've since learned that walkie-talkies can set it off, so we've been a bit more careful, but it has gone off one time, and that was it. It's just been the one time that it's ever gone off. So we always like, the less it goes off, the more paranormal it is. That's kind of, like, if the paranormal equipment is showing you that it's going off 24/7, I wouldn't believe it. Um,
um,
so yeah.
so about that place, I will say the one lady was a little
Oh, so
off.
the owner, yeah, or she was the
Um,
owner's wife.
she's like a medium or whatever. And I will tell you straight front, I do not believe mediums
I
exist.
feel like we say this every single talk show. Like, yeah, we don't believe in mediums.
But she decided to try to do a little reading. We'll go through this a little quicker than we did last time. She went up to Kayla while Kayla has a camera wrapped around her neck. You must be the photographer, the videographer.
I'm
Wow.
like, yeah, no shit. How'd you surmise that? You know?
And then she like looks at Nick and it's like, you got like a thing that follows you, like an angel that protects you or whatever. And then something about Abby and Wes. It's been so long, I can't
Abby
really
was
remember.
like, you're another photographer, or you have hidden artistic talents.
Yeah, or something like that. And then she goes to me and goes,
You're the
you
new
must be
guy.
the new member. And I'm like,
To be fair,
nope.
you do have the energy of an abandoned cat when you walk around in buildings, so I can see
So,
why.
and then she's like, okay, maybe you're not new to the thing, but you really used to do it and you really enjoyed it, and then you joined this group, and I'm like, nope, I'm the one that created the name for this group, so nope. We've been there since before day one.
Yeah, it was just so funny. Like, so there was that, but that wasn't like, when people say that stuff, it's like we're not worried about it. We're like, oh, okay, cool, like that. But no. So
Oh
you want to
man.
talk about the scariest part of the night? What we were all
Um,
terrified of?
the fact that there's a guy that has a little bit of mental issues that might be in his underwear anywhere in that building at any time.
Yeah, they told us there was a
Didn't see him,
They told
thank
us there was
God.
a residence. So in Mineral Springs, there's a floor that has apartments on it. Which I kind of feel bad for those people because they just have
Mm-mm.
investigators in all the time shouting by their doors. That must suck. And they can't do anything about it because we ran out the building. You know? So, anyway. So we were
Um,
told that there was a resident there who would walk around in his boxers eating Cheetos. And so what we were most afraid of the whole night was running into this guy who was in his boxers just eating Cheetos. Because if you've ever seen an apparition or anything in a place, those are already alarming. But for then it to be like something that could actually like, startle that person to the point that he could hurt you, that's terrifying to me. Now, even if he doesn't mean it, I mean, when I get startled, my instant reaction is fight. so it's like that's what we're most freaked out about. But there was another event of the night that, the only other event that was like really, really interesting.
Was in like that showroom area.
Yeah.
Where they said wasn't even really all that haunted.
Yeah, so when we first got there, they're like, this is where, we host events and weddings and stuff like that. They're like, we haven't really picked up too much activity here. And they just, like, really kept selling the pool area. The pool. We barely caught anything in the pool. Like, and then we're like, for shits and giggles, let's just go down and set up and see if anything happens.
And I think that was my idea.
Yeah. I don't remember who
just to end the day because we didn't investigate it.
Yeah, we're like, just to be sure. And so we go down there, set the cat balls, motion lights, stuff, everything up. And then, I would say not even 5 minutes later, the cat ball goes off. And then, that was probably some of the most intelligent cat ball responses we got. And we set up the spirit box next to it, too. And by the way, everything we're talking about is on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see this for yourself, we may show some clips here and there. But if you want to see the full video, go Mineral Springs, Paranormal Investigation in Mineral Springs.
All the things we're talking about should be uploaded.
There's going to be one that we're going to, or two that we're going to talk about.
Castle House will be the last one that's been uploaded.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so,
do you want to give that one a rating before we go to the next?
I would...
Like on how haunted we think it is?
Yeah, so in our videos, we always surmise from the data we collected if it's haunted or not. Sometimes we'll say if it's inconclusive, if we just didn't catch too... Like, there was stuff that was happening, but it was not enough. And so... it needs
usually
another
Kayla
time.
will put that she thinks it's haunted at the end of the video, and I haven't seen one where she hasn't put it, so...
No, there's been one on there. But, that was a private investigation. But,
from my experience at Mineral Springs, we're going on a scale 1 through 10. I'll give it a good 3.5.
Oh, I was going to give it more than that. I was going to give it a 6.
That's too high.
No, well, I mean, so...
there was
the reason I say that is because of that cat ball. Otherwise, I would agree with you. But, I mean, Zachary, like, we asked, literally, Zachary, at one point, and this is on footage, Zachary goes, I'm going to count down from 3, and you're going to turn that cat ball off. And he goes, 3, 2, 1, points, cat ball goes off. And then we ask through Spirit Box, and I think these were some of the most intelligent Spirit Boxes we've got, too.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember, but like I said, we were there from 5 o'clock till 1:30 in the morning.
And for 3 of those hours, we couldn't really investigate.
Yeah,
because the tour was going on, you could hear them.
From 9 o'clock to 1:30, we did our actual investigation.
Yeah,
and so the reason why I'll give it a 4. The reason why I give it a 4 is because it seemed like that one area was the only area that actually was
at least something wanted to communicate. Yeah, and
so a 4 doesn't mean it's not haunted.
Yeah, it's on the haunted scale.
A 10 is that night was so crazy and so active that I was terrified, whatever. And then a 5 is there was evidence, but it was just enough evidence for me to go, this place is haunted, but it's still not enough to be like, whoa, that's crazy. So I'll give it a 4 just because the capital activity, but it was way more overhyped than any place I've ever heard
And I
of.
think out of all the places that we've really paid for,
It was
s-
expensive.
it was like 430 or 400 something like that to rent the night there. Which I know there's other people who paid like $1,000, but like you gotta understand this place is like in Alton, Illinois, which is how do I put it? It's declined over the years, that city has. And so their
Yeah.
major attractions are the haunted attractions.
And
Um,
from what I've gathered about Alton, Illinois, is I've always heard, oh, it's one of the most haunted places in the U.S. And
yeah.
we've done 2 investigations over there. And that one investigation, which was a private investigation,
I
was
won't even count that one.
the inconclusive. We don't
Yeah.
think it's haunted.
Yeah.
We think they're crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I will never just say something's not haunted and disregard people if I've only been there one time. Because we've been to places where we know they're haunted and
and
nothing's
we
happened.
and we know we're not invited back to their house.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
um,
I wouldn't go back even if they asked me to.
yeah, well, we'll leave that out. We're not gonna bring any more attention to that. It's just been almost a year now since that whole incident has happened.
And we still remember
Anyways,
it so fucking clearly.
how could I forget? Oh goodness.
That's gonna be
It was
something we
an
take to the
investigation
grave.
I'll never forget. Maybe one day we'll share more in depth with it, but when it happened, we couldn't really speak on that matter at all. Anyways, let's go to Chini's
Well, I
mansion.
wanted to finish up one more thing with Mill Springs because you
Okay.
kind of cut me
Okay.
off, and that was the
Sorry.
intelligent ghost box. So we asked, "Can
Oh
you tell
yeah.
us what your name is?" And you know the first time we missed it because we were kind of talking, but it says clearly Michael. And then I think about 3 minutes later we ask again, "What's your name?" Straight up, right after we asked the question, this is how you know it's intelligent because it was not a delayed response or anything, and it was Michael. My name's, or no, I think it literally said my name's Michael, if I'm remembering correctly.
I don't remember.
It was really, really clear. You could hear it in the room. Sometimes you can't hear what the spirit box is saying when you're there, so you're kind of just trying to make guesses, and then when you play it back, it's like, oh, that. So if it ever was like bananas, and we're like, it said Barnes or something like that, that's why. Because in person, it's hard to hear. Anyway,
Yeah.
though.
So
In person, it sounds like it's so fucking loud. It's like hard to hear anything. Uh, anyway, let's move on to Cheney's mansion.
yep, that one is posted for people to see as well. And that was our second time going to Chini's mansion.
Yeah,
Um, I'd say we're probably gonna go again this year,
yeah.
but
It's not
not guaranteed. But
definitive yet, but I definitely think we may go in August this year. Normally we do September.
I was thinking October because they have the Halloween
Oh yeah,
decorations
that's
up
true.
and everything. Because we've every time we went, it's been September, and September's an all right time. But like I heard from our buddies over at Haunted Souls, is they decorate for Halloween
Yeah,
and stuff.
I
So
do know that.
it'd be kind of cool to see the Halloween decorations. See how much more that would make it a little scarier. Turn in the corner, and there's like a mannequin standing there.
Yeah, for real.
Um, but I will say, if we do end up going again this year, it'll be our last time for at least a few years.
Yeah, that'd be 3 years in a row at this
Yeah,
point. It is a really interesting place, though.
and
Um,
it's pretty.
it is very pretty too. I like literally when I go there. It's so historical. So the thing about Cheney's was, we typically do not do public investigations, and there's a reason for that. People in the public are not trained, in a sense, and so we tell people up front all the time. Um, Ghost hunting is about 90% sitting there waiting for something to happen, and the 10% is something happening.
Yeah,
Um,
us reacting to it.
so if you do not have the attention span, it can get boring really quick because really what you're doing is sitting in a dark room in silence, listening
Or
or
making
waiting.
jokes.
Yeah, we do make jokes to kind of break up that silence. But there's other teams that don't. Other teams are like, no, you sit there quietly.
Right? Some people are a little bit more serious than us, but
Yeah. Um,
and another thing is another reason why we don't typically do public is we do spend a lot of money for these places, and usually if it's our first time going, we
Oh, we
don't
never
want.
do. The only reason we did Cheney's or made it a public is because Cheney's was a place that we had gone for the second time. Um,
And if we do go, we might make it public again, just
Now,
because I have a couple
yeah,
people,
yeah,
and who knows, maybe somebody watching this might want to go, and
mm-hmm.
but it'll be a very, very limited amount.
Well,
Like,
you can only have, I think, 8 people,
yeah, I was thinking two extra people again,
which
because
is
even
yeah,
that
was a
was
lot.
okay.
Yeah, and the people who went were people we knew personally. It was my husband's friends, and they were on the chiller level of listening. When you don't know people, it's like our buddy like our buddy.
Like, our buddy.
They've done public
Did you just
investigations.
see that?
No, what?
You didn't see that shadow go across real quick?
No, I wasn't paying attention to your screen.
What the fuck? I don't know.
We're gonna stop
What
and do
the?
an actual paranormal investigation.
I don't know if I should technically show this or not, since it is my yard.
You
You.
can't see shit. So,
Well, let's see if
I'll
I
tell
can
you
get
what
it.
it looks like. It looks like the sun is beating in on me.
No, it's bright. I don't know why it's that awful. Oh, they're puzzled.
I see
What the?
your screen is so bright. It's making me look whiter.
I don't know why it's not like adjusting. Because like I have my window
It's
open
heaven
now.
out there.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so I guess I can't show you. Dun dun.
Just kidding.
But there's a screen outside my door, and all I saw was like a shadow go across my room. I don't know, maybe you might have seen it on camera,
Well,
or I'm
it's
just going
recording,
crazy.
so I can take a look later. And
Yeah,
I
I don't
wasn't.
know. It
I
just,
don't watch your screen.
I just,
I watched the camera or my recording screen to make sure things are working properly. Anyway, let's
we
continue.
could probably edit that out if it was nothing, but there is a screen outside my window, and I don't know, because the screen's still in my window, so I don't know where it's from. So I don't know if like that flew into my window, made it dark for a second.
I don't know. Anyway, back to Cheney's mansion.
Okay.
So that's kind of why our like hesitations against public tours. We're typically not a touring company. If we're doing public investigations, it's to raise funds for future investigations or equipment. Um,
And I will say, don't be afraid to reach out though,
yeah.
because there might be a chance that we go on a private investigation, and you might be able to go on a private investigation with us. As we're gonna ask questions first, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but first we want to see where your beliefs are, because we have very strict beliefs, and that might determine if you go or not.
Oh,
But we want you to be honest.
I think it's fair to say this. We are always actively looking for members. We're trying to have a 10-member team. That way we have this is our regular group of people, and then more people for when we do bigger places. Because bigger places in a small group is very intimidating. You can't cover everything in one night
And
with a small group.
and another thing is, you have to be willing to give money.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a free investigation, some places, some people I know will be okay with that. We're such a small group and we make nothing from it that you have to be willing to fess up a little money. Now the thing is, and again, the thing is, uh, what you pay is what we pay. So
Yeah.
it's not like we're like, oh, ha ha ha, we're
Every
making
team
you
member
pay
on our,
more.
like we said, we don't get any money from this. Every single team member on our team puts in the money. That's how we make it affordable. So, there's sometimes we pay $25 each or $50 each. For an investigation, that's cheap. you know?
Well, especially whenever you see some people, like, um, let's say the place to rent out's $1,000. No, we'll do Chini's Mansion because I remember the Ghost Hunts USA.
Yeah, we talked about this
Rest in
before.
peace.
Yeah.
Um,
Pieces.
yeah, please don't come back. Was it's $350 to rent out for a private investigation, maybe a little more, like 400, somewhere around there. So between us five going, it's usually about like $60 a person, give or take. And I'm not gonna do the math, but
Mm-hmm.
um, then they were charging $150 a person, and they were having up to 10 people. So they were easily making over $1,000 in
Yeah.
just profit because they're
They were upcharging.
professional.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
upcharging for you to
Now,
be a part
my
of the
thing is,
team.
if you're going to do an investigation and you're renting the building out, at least have them pay the bare minimum. Have them pay equal of what it would be for that session.
Yeah.
So if that session's usually for a public investigation $100 for an 8-hour session, at least charge people what they would charge because
Yeah,
that's
well,
scummy.
I think you're getting into more of investigation crews who are there to make money versus us who are there to collect evidence. Um, and that's a major difference. Not to say what they're doing is wrong,
It's
but
just against what I believe.
like we said, we're pretty non-profit. There's stuff that if we make any money, it's going into buying new equipment or upkeeping the equipment we have or renting places out. Like
Yeah,
we
that's where
barely
it
keep
mainly
any.
goes.
Yeah, but it is where it mainly
We don't
goes.
keep any. I will say we made probably
$30 last year in
30
profit.
bucks a person.
Yeah.
And that went
That's it.
directly into
Yeah,
the
and that
next
literally
thing.
went into savings, and then went to let's do this
Woo-wee,
investigation.
$30.
And I think that literally just came from the fact that we sell our shirts, and some people wanted some of our shirts, so I designed a shirt for them and
the
sold
public
it.
investigation.
Yeah, and the public investigation too. So back to Cheney's though. So we have 2 years worth of evidence at Cheney's now. I do definitely think that place is pretty haunted. Zachary, in your opinion, last year or this year, what was more activity?
This year was more activity.
I agree.
Or,
Well, last year, but 2022
yeah,
versus 2023.
Yeah, 2023 was more active than 2022.
Yeah. And they told us the year prior that the more you come back, in 2022, they're like, if you come back again, you're going to get more evidence because the more you come back, the more they know you and the more they're willing to communicate. And I at the time was like, oh, they're just trying to get us to come back and spend some more money. No, I definitely think they were absolutely telling the truth.
Yeah.
Zachary and I, this again, Cheney's is up on the channel, so if you want to watch it to the full content, you can. It's there to watch.
This is technically part 2. It's its own separate thing. It's not like there's a part 1. It's the full
investigation.
thing, but that's just the second time we went.
Yeah.
But our channel that we have now,
It's only there's only one.
There's only one. We have another video, but we might do a reaction to it.
Yeah, it was before we were an official team. It was when we were just.
No, we were already an official team. It was. Yeah.
It was like at the very beginning.
We just started, but we didn't have the YouTube channel yet.
Yeah, we started the
Which
YouTube
is, as
channel
of
in
right now, doing
January.
pretty good on Castle House, which I
Yeah.
will talk about
Yeah.
when we get to it.
So, I will say the first time we went, I think we caught one of the coolest EVPs there, and that was the little girl humming.
Mm-hmm.
That one was really cool.
Chini's Mansion is the only place where we've had the balls enough to do solo investigations.
Yeah.
I
Because
want to
those
do
ghosts,
another.
those spirits, at least for the most part, don't feel super, like, there's some places you go to and you just know you're not welcome. Like, what the hell are you
Yeah,
doing here? Get
I'll
out.
adjust the camera a little more. But I
Um,
will say, Chini's Mansion, when I had new batteries in my flashlight, going up them stairs after you told them to do something
oh
to
yeah.
scare me, and my flashlight starts flickering during my solo investigation at 16 minutes in, I was done. They're
Yeah.
supposed to last 20 minutes, but
Yeah,
I called it
we
quits.
each had a 20-minute solo investigation. So during mine, Zachary leaves out a little bit of context here. So during mine, I went into Cheney's room, Petey's room, my bad.
Yeah.
Petey Cheney was his name. Um, and I was asking him to communicate, or I think I'd like knocked on the door and said, Petey, are you here? And so there's the door frame. As I walked through the door frame, I had my flashlight on to see, because I have night blindness really bad. I can't walk around buildings like that because it just looks like there's nothing. So the second I did that, my flashlight starts to flicker on and off, on and off. And it scared me enough to where I backed out of the room past the door frame. The second I was past the door frame, flashlight starts working again, no issues. So I definitely think it was PD fucking with me. And they did say that PD likes to mess with women. So it was interesting on that. And so I finished up my investigation, and when I went to, after I was leaving the junk room, I said, Petey, if you're listening to me, the next person who comes up is a scaredy cat. It'd be really funny if you scared him. So Zachary goes up to do his investigation. Sure
And then
shit.
that happened.
Yeah. And
And I
so
was done.
it
I
was
was done. I was scared.
Cheney's
He
is one
got
of the
me.
only places where there's cameras up, like their own cameras, so you can see in the control room, each room. And so we're just in the control room watching Zachary run, and it was hilarious.
I will say, I'm known as the pussy of the group.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean I'm afraid of ghosts. It's just usually if something happens, I'm the first to start running, and I don't want to consider that to make me a pussy though. Even though we joke about it, and I will say, the more and more investigations I do, the more brave I am. It's not like I'm over here like, oh my god, I'm scared, don't do nothing. No, I want something to happen.
Yeah.
It just like I'll get to it later about the Methodist Village one
Yeah.
where we were
Yeah, we'll talk about that
doing
in a little
live
bit.
stream
Let's
stuff.
talk about Mary the Doll now.
Hold on.
Okay, what?
Ratings.
Oh yeah, we need to rate it. I feel like last year I gave that place an 8.
7.
Or was it a 7? It was
I don't
a
know
7 or
what
8.
we gave it last year. I'm just going off of how I feel this year.
Yeah, I feel like this, I would give it an 8. It's pretty haunted.
Okay. Well, 7's still not bad.
Yeah, I mean we
Well,
had.
just because compared to the other places.
I don't try to compare to other places. I compare off of the data that we collected that night and previous data.
I kind of have to go off of the other places. I've done a lot more investigations than you have, and
Excuse you. What?
I have.
You've done maybe 3 or 4 more. And that's because I was sick and I just couldn't attend.
No, I've been on probably. Wes and I have probably been on about 6 more investigations than you.
No.
Yeah, because we've been to
There
Pylon
was
twice,
2.
3 times without you, and then we've been to Methodist, maybe 5, because we've been to Methodist twice without
Twice. Okay, so if you've done
It's
Pineland,
been
then yeah,
about
5
5
times.
investigations, which
That's
is a
not a
lot.
lot. No, it's not.
That
That's
is
not
a lot.
Anyway, those are also public investigations, not privates. You're leaving out that
No.
very, very
Yeah, okay.
specific detail.
Yeah, all private investigations Kayla has been to. Anyways, what was I
And the only
saying?
reason I didn't go to the other ones was because I was sick, not
Well,
because I didn't want to go.
It's not like
You're
I'm
holding
saying,
my illness against me. Yeah, I couldn't help. I got the flu, Zach. Oh my god.
well, I'm not saying like I compare other places because like I want to have like a top 10 places to go to type thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if we've probably been
We've
to
never.
over 10
You know what? We
places.
probably have. We could probably do a top 10 haunted places we've visited at this point. We just haven't. I'll have to.
I know I've been over 30 investigations, but a lot of them have been at the same places, so.
Yeah, we are kind of like returnings. We're trying to branch out more this year, which we'll talk about later. Let's get into
Yeah.
Mary the Doll. So
This year,
well, I think we need to put context instead of just saying this year she sucked. You know,
I wasn't gonna say that.
this year was different from last year, and
This year was different because we had to do it at a different location. Same dial, obviously.
yeah. It was a good experiment to see if it was actually the doll. But there was a few issues with
The
and why
owners
we
of the
want
dial.
to and why we want to maybe do another one at my house. And that is
We're not doing that again, though.
well, what we need is a control. And
I'm done with Mary the Doll. Unless we could do it at the original location.
I'm not saying with Mary. I'm saying at
Okay.
my house. And the reason for that is we brought Mary here and we got activity. However, Zachary knows and I know that my house is just actually haunted. So the question is now, was it actually Mary or was it the spirits in my house that were communicating with us? And I don't know. I would like to say it was Mary, but it was also so little activity compared to the previous year that it makes me kind of question it was her. There was some intelligent cat ball responses, like we were kind of egging Mary on at one point, and she set the cat ball off.
The only ghost I'll mess with.
Yeah, and that's because, again, Mary has been in our family for years, if you didn't know that. And so, if she was going to kill us, she would have done it by now.
And I feel like the owner of Mary, not the actual owner, but Dad,
Uh-huh.
at this point, I might just take Mary in, because my house is already... no offense, Kayla. I know you have weird stuff happen, but my house has been... Even yesterday, everybody was in my house. Lacey, all them, Bella. And the door just opens up by itself.
I'm not
and we're all
going to
just
say that
hanging
your
out.
house isn't more haunted than mine. I'm just saying that my house is haunted. You've been
But I'm
touched
saying-
here and everything.
I'm saying, might as well throw Mary in my house and not do a Mary
I will say
investigation,
this.
but-
I will say this. The night that we had Mary here, the second the investigation wrapped up, I had my husband go put her in our trunk outside of my house. She was not welcome to stay here. Mary, she gives off a vibe, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, because she's so pretty, you get jealous. You don't want your husband sleeping with her.
No, Mary, this is how you know she's haunted. It's because when you're around her, it feels like the doll is watching you. And if you get too far away from the doll, it kind of feels like there's less of a presence, but the presence is still there, and she just gives off a really negative energy. So the second the investigation wrapped up, Mary went to the trunk of my car, and I returned her to her mama the next day. I was like, "You can have your damn doll back."
Let's try to end this one quickly because not a lot happened with Mary the Doll.
Yeah.
It was our first live stream, so there's
Yeah.
that. That
There was
a
some stuff
plus.
that happened, so I think it carried on from last year.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible, but
We caught a
I
few
would
cool
say
things, but yeah, overall it was kind
way
of a
less active than the house originally
especially
at.
if we're comparing to other
Well, I'm just
investigations
comparing
that
it
year.
to
Last year
the
was crazy.
prior investigation
Yeah.
to like the first Mary the Doll.
And personally, I think that was also has to do with the fact that her owner Sherry, which is our stepmom, was present. She was not present the second time, so we didn't get nearly as much activity. I think she likes to mess. What is the matter?
Whoa!
You okay?
My door just fucking flew open.
Oh, your front door?
Yeah, did you hear it?
No, I didn't hear it. And I'm like, that's like the third time you've either claimed to see something during this. I was like, guys, I think you might be
Well, you
going...
can't see my front door because...
I know, it's in the other room. But I do know that that is a common occurrence in your house. Which is why I surmised it.
That was a fucking slam.
Like
that
it
was...
slammed open? This is how Kiko got out.
No, Kiko got out because I took trash out.
Oh, I see.
Anyways, let's end the Mary thing.
Yeah.
Because not a lot happened. First live stream. I'll give it a... I know Mary's haunted.
The investigation this year was like a 2.
Investigation, yeah, it was...
She was not
really
nearly as active. And like I said, that doesn't mean she's not haunted. It's just
No.
that this year, she didn't give us as much activity as last year.
I would love to do another one at our family's home, but it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to say it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Let's talk about Castle House. Because that's the big one.
Okay, yeah. Castle House was our first stay the night place.
24-hour investigation.
Yeah, we were there for 24 hours, so we got a lot of footage. A lot of us just hanging out with the owners. Awesome people. Absolutely, like, amazing, nice as can be people. I still talk to the owner. We keep in touch. I'll text him whenever we go on investigations. I send him proof because he's all things paranormal. He absolutely loves seeing it. And he tells us all the time how much he appreciates keeping in touch with him and showing us all the footage that we get. And
let me talk about that real quick. So he's talking about Steve, such a nice guy.
Yeah,
it really felt like when we were going there for an investigation, but after meeting them, it kind of felt like we were going back to Grandma and Grandpa's place. Like that.
But they're not old. Like, I wouldn't think of Steve and Judy as old people.
But you get what I mean. They give off that vibe, is what I'm saying.
Like, it felt like I was returning home from college type thing.
Yeah,
like,
they were very nice and welcoming. That's basically what I'm saying.
They were awesome, very sweet.
But since that has happened, there's been... Well, I never thought about it much before, but we'll go into places and people are like, wow, you guys are the nicest group that we've had in here for, like, ever. Or, you guys are so chill, or you're so relaxed, and,
Or funny. We get a lot of you guys
are
make
funny.
me laugh so much.
Yeah. And I never really thought much about it before until Castle House, when they were like, you guys are the best group ever. And then when I started speaking to other, like, paranormal teams, and I won't go into too much detail, but there are some teams who own or they rent out from the owners to do investigations there, and talking with them is like, let's put it like this. It's like they feel you're about to piss on their territory. Let's put it like that.
Well, one thing I will say, I won't say who the guy is. He's a bigger YouTuber, TikToker. He did go to Castle House. I won't say who or
I'm not talking
anything.
about that guy. I'm talking about
I'm talking about that because that person ended up breaking their chair.
Oh yeah.
And
that's what I was getting into.
Yeah. And me, if I go to a location and I accidentally break something,
It's an apology. It's, oh my god, I'm so
at the
sorry.
very least, I'm going to let you know instantly. It hasn't happened yet, but
There has
who
been times
knows?
we've broken things by accident, but it's been in more places where there's just shit everywhere. And, Mineral Springs is a good example of that. People just throw their trash all over the place. And so you can't help but to walk on things. And sometimes
Yeah,
things
but
get broken.
that's not like valuable stuff. I'm
Yeah,
talking
we've
about
never
like
broken anything
it
valuable.
was an old chair, like an antique that
Yeah.
person ended up breaking. If I would to have broken that, I would have offered money, and I most likely most people probably won't accept or whatever. But I would have at least been like, "How much was this? Let me at least help you,"
At
because
Cheney's last year, Wes ran into their end table and knocked it over, and we told them that if we had damaged it anyway, we would pay to get it fixed. That's the difference, you know?
yeah,
He didn't
I
actually
don't.
damage it. I don't think it even really fell away. He caught the
No,
table, but Wes runs into
no,
shit all the time.
now I'm not saying because I could have been like he might have told him, but from what I understood, it was a no, like they found it broken type thing. Anyways, let's get off that topic. Castle House itself.
Well, I kind of wanted to stay on that topic for a little bit.
Oh,
You kind of took over
okay.
what I was saying.
Okay. I'm sorry. I haven't took my medicine today.
I know, I can tell you're all over, man. Uh, anyway, what I was saying is, from being in it for what, 3 years now,
Mm-hmm.
what we have,
2021.
yeah, what we have learned is that, um, I don't want to say, like, we've met some really good investigation teams, so I don't want to say it's everybody, but from what I've seen, it's like, even when you talk about, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when we, like, call people on the phone to, like, schedule for places, it's like this hate in their voices. Have you ever heard that? Like, they
Kayla, I've
meet you.
called people about people doing investigations there, and I'll be like, "Hi, I'm with a small team. We're called St. Louis Paranormal
Mm-hmm.
Investigation Crew. I'm wondering if you guys do any private investigations." And I'll get an older lady on the phone, and she'll be like, "We don't do that here anymore," and like hangs up on me or like will cuss me out. I'm like,
I haven't never gotten it that bad, but you can definitely hear, like, the animosity in their voices. And I definitely think it has something to do, and as a professional team, something I want to talk about. I think it has to do a lot with people who come for clicks. I guess it's the best way to do it. We run a channel. I'm not going to sit here and say we're totally innocent. I don't think we are. We make videos and we want people to watch them. And I don't think that's not the part that's wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. The part that's wrong is going into these places, treating these people that run the places that you're visiting, and their places that they own, as if it's your own personal playground. It's not. And I feel like as somebody in the community, I need to call that out. As somebody who runs my own investigation thing, it should be called out. And unfortunately, the people who are doing this aren't the professional teams that are going in there for ghosts. They're going there to make YouTube, TikToks, and whatever, just to show you, and they're over dramatizing and sometimes purposely breaking things for clicks. And that's not right. And this is why regular teams like us, when we call places, meet us with just animosity.
we got a
Because they don't
bad
know
rep.
us. Yeah, we have a horrible rep. The paranormal crew, paranormal teams have a bad rep, and it has nothing to do with the actual paranormal teams, and which is why it makes me so upset. It has everything to do with these people pretending to be paranormal teams, and they're not. And they're not going to stop because they make thousands of dollars doing it, which is sickening to me. But they're just going to sit there and keep giving us a bad rep. And the only thing that we can do as a team is separate ourselves from them. We're not, yes, we film, yes, it goes on YouTube, but we're not doing it for clicks. We'll sign waivers. We'll do whatever you want to make you feel comfortable. And that's kind of what I want to say about that. Anyway,
Treat people the way you want to be treated, and their stuff.
yeah.
Act like if it
Treat
is
people
your
with
own.
respect. Exactly. Like, there's
Anyway,
nothing difficult about that. You're a narcissist if you're going into these places treating it any other way than how you would treat your own home. And if you treat your own home like that, then I think that also says a lot more about you than anybody else. Anyway, though, I'm sorry, it is a topic that like makes me really upset because I don't like getting screamed at over the phone on my first thing just because we have a bad rep. Anyway, yeah, Castle House.
The investigation itself was, in the best way I can describe it, the video does not do its justice. Because the cameras didn't pick up on absolutely everything. Like, it got to a point where it was so intense that we had to call for a 20-minute break in, like, the middle of it.
I think we did 20 minutes, if I remember correctly. Editing the footage, it was at a tense where you just had to be like, I need a break.
Because it was at one point where it was like, I can't tell if this is actually happening or if we're all just anxiety-filled right now.
Yeah.
And just feel like things are happening.
Which is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, any place you go, you could go to the least haunted place ever, and if you're looking for a ghost, you're going to find a ghost.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's a real ghost. It just, your brain can fool itself into thinking something's actually happening.
Yeah, so we try to go into places with an open mind but a skeptic mind.
Yeah, so at that point we were like, holy shit, we need a break just to relax and turn the lights on, make sure everything that's actually happening is actually happening because ghosts and not because our brains are tricking itself. And it wasn't that, but it was intense.
It was really intense. And addressing some of the comments that we got in the video. So Castle House is our most viewed video on the channel now, which is good. We wanted that. We worked really hard on Castle House. We paid a lot of money to go to Castle House, so we wanted people to see
every
it.
Penny.
It really was. But I like to address some comments when I see them. So it's a fair criticism that the footage in that video was not the best. We definitely
need to get stabilizers.
Yeah, and it happens. You get busy, you forget to do things, and that's one of them. And also, like I said, we pay for our stuff. Like, we don't make money doing this. So any piece of equipment we have, any place we go to, it is bought and paid for by us. So anyway, we understand that some of the footage wasn't great. Also understand that none of us are professional videographers. We are field people, essentially, is the best way to put it. We have cameras strapped to us, and that's about it.
Strapped.
Yeah.
It's in our hands. We're holding it, and we are walking around.
You gotta understand from our standpoint, we've got gear all over us.
We have a video coming out probably, hopefully, in less than 2 months, where the other founder, Wes, was holding a camera while I was live streaming, and that if you go onto, I think, TikTok and our Facebook page, you could see what I'm talking about. But I look over at Wes, and whenever I record, like whenever I
try to keep it at least straight. Yeah.
I hold it. I might be a little shaky because I'm not the best, but I'm holding it and I'm looking into the camera as if it's my eyes. Wes, on the other hand, I look over at him.
Yeah, he's really bad about pointing the camera down to the ground.
Like, it was like he thought it was like a GoPro. Like, he was using his body to hold it. And then I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, look. I'm recording. I'm like, dude, look into it. He's like, but then my eyes can't see. We're in the dark. What do you mean your eyes can't see? You can see better with the fucking infrared. Anyways,
But yeah, so just before we get too far in, we see your criticisms, they're fair, but also understand from us that none of us are professionals. We don't do this professionally.
although we
so
are professionals.
we are professional investigators. This is again the difference between people who do this for clicks and the people who are in it for real.
It will get better, especially
Yeah.
the more and more we do it.
It's practice.
That one was intense.
Definitely, and that was another thing was most of the time our video skills I think are at least a lot better than that. It's just that place was so intense. It was hard to think about the camera in your hand because you were listening to boom, 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 boom. Lights were turning on. People were getting scratched. People were getting pushed.
All you can hear. I'll use this glass. Let's see if I can bring this over. Let me know if you hear it or not.
No, I can't hear it. No, I could hear that, but I can't hear the rest. I only heard it the one time. It was really hard. So, yeah, we had tapping on the window in the doll room, and it picked it up like once or twice. What?
How is it not picking up? I think it's because I have the back.
Well, I think that's just I think it's a perfect example too from the actual video because I feel like people who watch them is like I can't hear anything and we're like wow it was so crazy. That's the difference from actually going on an investigation versus seeing it on footage. Cameras don't always pick everything up.
Because right now I am knocking on the wall.
Yeah, you can't hear it, and it's the same too. Like he's got
a
professional mic in his room, and you can't hear that. So yeah, but anyway, there was one other thing where somebody was saying that they were a little bit more upset that we didn't ask more relevant questions, and I responded to that, and I'll say it on here. You guys saw with Castle House 2 hours.
2 hours
of a 24-hour investigation. I guarantee we asked every question under the sun. You're seeing the stuff that they either responded to or happened, because I'll tell you right now, as somebody who had to go through 24 hours of footage, it's boring as hell to sit there and listen to somebody snore for 8 hours. Just saying.
What are you talking about? There was some comedy gold that she also didn't keep in.
Oh, well, again, that's the difference. We say funny shit on our investigations all the time, but the evidence takes precedence over us being funny. So things have to get cut.
You did leave my fart in at the very end of the video. Thanks for that.
I mean, it was going to be 2 hours anyway. Might as well keep it in.
Kayla.
It was the last video that I looked at. What?
Kayla. 2.9 thousand people have seen me go, you want to see something paranormal?
I think it's actually more than that from my last...
I see 2,965 views.
It is... Yeah, it's 2.9. You're right. But yeah. Anyway, it's funny. And I hope they got a good laugh out of it. But that was the point. It made me die. That was so when they do the footage in these places. I like how we're supposed to talk about evidence.
God damn it!
What? It did it again?
Fucking door again.
This is why we're gonna do an investigation over at his house. I wish he could take us with him.
Okay. I locked it this time. It is locked. It is also windy, so... Mm-hmm. But, like, I have it latched. It's not like it's not latched, so now I have it locked. So if it flies open again...
Shit's going down.
I will be called an exorcist, and I don't even believe in exorcism.
Anyway, back to Castle House. So, we were talking about 24-hour footage. You can see 2 hours of it. So
Yeah.
that's basically all that. So again, fair criticisms, but also keep in mind that you're seeing 2 hours of an investigation, and it's like that with us. The majority of our investigations are anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. So you're seeing an hour and a half to 2 hours of a 12 hour or of a 24 hour. So you're not gonna always see everything. That's what public investigations are for. If you're wanting to experience an actual full time thing. That's what those are for. Anyway, though, let's talk about the actual stuff. We've kind of hit at all the other things, so let's talk about actual Castle House.
Well, house is
Evidence.
built in the 1800s. There's been multiple people that have lived there. It was used as a
Lived
hospital
and
once.
died there, yeah.
Um, there's supposed possible bodies out there, but from what Steve has said, he doubts it. But not, I can't doubt,
Yeah.
but
He says he hasn't
most
found.
likely.
He said he brought cadaver dogs out there, and they did get hits, and he has found coffin nails, but they haven't found any skeletal remains or bodies. So either the bodies have, at this point, completely, gone back to nature, I guess is the polite way of saying it, or they were never there to begin with. Or there's also, they messaged me. Okay. It's me. You're probably... What? What are you hearing now? I'm talking about ghosts and they're going fucking insane.
Just continue.
Okay. Just
I hear
ignore
somebody
them.
speaking.
Just ignore them. That's what I do to my ghosts.
Well, I do typically, but
I've had loud bangs above my computer before, and I'll be like,
somebody's
"Ooh."
talking
Oh.
out there.
Yeah. Anyway.
It could have been that the TV just turned off and turned on.
I will say there's 4 major things that happened at Castle House. And I remember, even in the video, I don't know if I lifted it or not, but I was like, there's a lot of stuff happening, but it's not like the stuff you'd expect. Normally, we expect a capel to go off, or the REM pod, or something along those natures, but these were completely, like, those are physical things that happen, but this was, like, physical. Like, we had the tablecloth that if you've seen the video, the Ouija board is on, completely just get pushed up.
Wes got scratched.
Yeah.
And then he got pushed.
Yeah, and he got pushed into us. So I feel like I'm surprised nobody's talked about this on the video yet. The fact that it's dark when that happens. If that annoyed you, guess what? It annoyed me too. So I kind of cut a bit out. But basically what had happened was there was these lights. I'm trying to remember what they're called.
I know what you're talking about. They're used, like, they'll light up if something's walking by it.
Yeah, and so the thing is the infrared can't see color change. It's black and white. And so I had taken it out of infrared to look at those lights. And that just so happened to be around the time that Wes got pushed too.
Yeah, rewatching that, I was like, oh, I should have just got the infrared on.
I know. And that's usually the reason we keep 2 cameras about. But somebody at Castle House kept kicking the camera. Zachary.
He did it.
I literally I think I cut this stuff out too, but it could be a good bloopers. But I said at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm laying some cameras out on the floor. Watch where you're stepping.
Put them on the table, and I won't step on them.
Well, it was keeping track of the lights that were on the floor.
Well, I can't help it. I walk funny.
And so, literally, I have the second camera going. Well, at least you didn't have to hear it, because I heard you kick it, and it sounded like, ah! And I'm like, oh, my eardrum. But anyway, so that's why We had one camera going because people kept kicking the cameras that night, and as much as I love paranormal evidence, my cameras are expensive, and I don't want them to get broken. So,
Alright, so I
anyway,
think that's
yeah.
enough for Castle House.
Yeah. And that was
Well,
about it. If you want to see more, again, that video's up. You can
yeah,
watch the
it's
full
up.
context of it.
It's the most recent video we have.
This next one
actually,
is not on YouTube.
hold
It's
on,
TikTok.
hold on. Still not done. Okay,
No.
now you want to get dark.
Right? I wish mine would get dark. I look like I'm a glowing jellyfish over here.
Yeah, you guys can actually almost see outside.
It's green! Ah!
Okay.
Not in my
anyways,
spooky season. Just kidding.
Ratings, we gotta give it a rating.
Oh yeah, rating. 10.
Yeah, 9.5.
I'll give
It
it a
was
10. I was
Fucking
terrified.
terrified.
I like how that's both of our responses. It's a 10 because I'm terrified.
Yeah,
Zachary
I said
gave it
9.5.
9.5. Yeah, still, it's
But
close enough.
I can't say anything's a perfect 10, but
Oh, I will. And that place
I'll go
was a
as
10.
close. I'll go as close as I can, and that place was. I will. God, it and Methodist Village is so close. And
It is
that
crazy to think
what
we
the
almost.
next one's gonna be.
I will say, right before that, it is crazy to think that we almost passed up on Castle House because of Dead Files. Because it was on a TV show. And we're like, because we got stiffed with Methodist Village. Or not Methodist, my bad. Mineral Springs. They both start with M's, damn it. Mineral Springs, not Methodist. Anyway.
Although the Dead Files, that one girl is completely crazy. But the history part, I heard, is pretty cool. Accurate. So.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So last year, October, Methodist Village. I did not go to this one.
Yeah. No, this was Wes, my fiance, and I. It was a public investigation, so there was other people in there with us. So it's our buddy Jason who usually runs it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did take some people with us, so that way he had less pressure. Don't know why they followed me.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to, but I guess
I feel like
saw the shirt. It was like, ah.
Yeah, Pineline. I think, but no. I'm talking about not last year, but the year before. When we went to Pineline, it was our last time going. We had a group that followed us around too, and I feel like not only the shirts that we wear, but I think we just kind of exude that same level of confidence that Jason has. And when you're scared, you want to be around people who are that seem confident.
My thing is, I remember our first investigation. I didn't want to leave Jason's side.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
He knew what he was doing. I felt like he was going to be the one that...
I didn't trust any of his other team members. I was like, that's the guy. Stay next to that guy.
Now,
he seems to know what he's doing.
Now,
we walk around on our own.
I'll go with, like...
What are you talking about? Jason lets us walk around on our own.
Well, yeah, I was saying, like, whenever because usually he'll have it where we go in big groups and then we could...
Yeah, split off. But he always has, other team members with us. I'm saying with us, he knows us so well, and we've become so acquainted with him that he just kind of is like, yeah, you know what you're doing.
Talking about Jason, he texted me during this because I sent him the
video.
We'll be showing them a little later.
Oh, okay, well, save his response for them.
Okay. Yeah, anyways, Methodist Village, it was a short because I recorded it like this instead of like this. Sorry, YouTube. But I did record like this, and I will say, for somebody that doesn't record and obviously record it like a grandma like this, I caught some really good evidence.
You did. You really did. I will say, unfortunately, that because it's shot in a vertical, it's not here on YouTube. Because
it's on our TikTok.
Yeah, because YouTube Shorts is only up to 60 seconds. So if you want to see
9 minutes.
Yeah, it's really close to the cutoff point for TikTok, even.
Yeah, and it was really good evidence. And it wasn't like I was recording the entire time. Kayla wasn't with us, so we just went. Because there's been multiple investigations where it's just Wes and I, or Wes and Abby and I, and we usually will not record during those times. All the videos I took was so that way Kayla could see because Kayla wasn't with us.
Because I
But
was
it became,
sick. So he
but
does that for me.
evidence that I did catch was so good that
It
I was
really
like, this
was.
this has to go out. People have to be able to see
Oh
this.
yeah, it really explains what
Yeah.
happened.
So first, we had two couples at the end of the hallway. We went with Jason's
You should
girlfriend,
also mention
wife,
that we just bought
whatever.
these damn cat balls too.
What are they married or are they just dating or
I
what?
think
What
they're
is
the boyfriend girlfriend. I think I
okay?
don't know. I don't know too much
Well,
about it.
that person, I forget her name, is who we went with.
Courtney? Was it
Courtney.
Courtney?
Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went with her. I remember it when I see her face. I'm awful with names though.
Oh, I know. I
Um,
am the same way.
So we went with her instead of Jason because Jason took a group, and my brain goes, less people are going to go with her, so I want to go with her.
Yeah.
And even a little a little group of people did follow us as well, so it worked out pretty well. Um, and where we were in the Alzheimer's unit, not too much happened. Just a couple. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
You did hear the bang?
Oh no, I thought you were talking about like what we normally do. I was agreeing with you. That's what we do.
Did you hear that bang?
No, I didn't hear that one.
Stop talking for a second.
No, I heard that one.
Okay, that kept happening on the door. I didn't really record that because I was like, oh, well, da whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we go to move up towards.
Well, I think
where's it head?
that's a normal thing for the Aughton Center, which is the Alzheimer's unit too. It's to hear a lot of bangings and stuff like that.
Then we went to the Dicus area, which we were at our most recent investigation, where we stayed a lot of the time at. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, Dicus.
Yeah.
It's where
So
the
we were
rehab the home
there.
was.
Yeah, so that's where
I know
we
all the
ended up
history
going.
because I just finished a history video on it.
And then we walked over there, and whenever we were collecting our equipment, a cat ball went missing. And then I even asked people, I'm like, did you take a cat ball? And everybody denied it. And I'm not going to call people liars, so I'll believe that they didn't take it. And that
Well, I feel
probably
like,
was messing with us.
especially to beginners, they don't know what the fuck a cat ball is. They're not just going to take a random cat ball.
So then we're over in the Dicus area. We're in the middle where all four hallways are. And Wes goes, can you give me my cat ball back? And like maybe 10 seconds later. Can you hear me? Or is that not picking up?
It's not picking up. Did mine? You hear that? I'm sure the mic's picking up. Anyway, it sounds like that.
It just sounded like somebody
Dropping the ball. Yeah. I don't know. Your mic's not picking it up for some reason.
It's because it doesn't want to pick up background noises. It wants to.
It does
hear
have a
my
silencer.
voice.
Mine does the same thing. You kind of have to be like clicking on it. I don't want to do it because.
Yeah, well, either way, it's you. If you watch the video, you can hear the cat ball like get thrown, and then all of us were searching for it, and then we did find it, and it was broken. And then Jason tried to recreate it off of camera. I wasn't recording this, but Jason did recreate it, and he threw it from across the room where the guy that likes to play jokes on people lived before he died.
Yeah.
And so he threw it across. It sounded exactly like that, except for when Jason threw it, it did break in half. So there's that.
Jason is also a living being with more strength than a ghost.
Yeah.
So there's also that.
And then we also had really good activity in Sarah's room. So all that is in there. Like I said, about 9 minutes.
Yeah, it's
checking it out.
Yeah. Arlington's next.
Well, I would like to.
Oh, you got more?
Well, it just that night somebody got scratched.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't a part of our group. Mm-hmm. In Sarah's room, and then Wes also got scratched. It looked like a little child handprint.
I didn't see any of this stuff.
I did not put that in the video because I could send you the images, or if you give me a minute,
You put it on the Facebook.
I might be able to pull it up. because it's on my computer now. So just give me a minute and you take over.
Okay.
But I'm not going to give Methodist Village a rating just yet because
We're
we'll
going to
be
talk about
getting
it
back
again.
to it.
Yeah. We're going to move on to Arlington Hotel. So this was our last investigation of 2023. It was in November. So a little bit of background. Probably to you guys, you're going to be like, what the hell is Arlington Hotel? I've never heard of it. That's because it is not a famous location. It is a location that my family, me and Zach, we're siblings if you didn't know. It is a location that our family owned for many years and then sold when my uncle retired. So he, we called the new owners and we're like, hey, we're paranormal investigators, but our family used to own this hotel. Back when it was a hotel, it's an event center now. And we were like, would you care if we just came by and see if we could confirm the reports of hauntings? And they were like, well, I mean, we don't really have a problem with it. We've had investigators in the past come in, though, and they didn't really catch anything, so I don't know if it'd really be worth your time. And we're like, hey, we're used to that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter if we catch anything or not. We know that it's something that may or may not happen. It'll just be a cool thing, and also kind of like a walk down memory lane, you know, because
Right.
our family used to own it.
So I got the images up now if you want to see.
Okay, yeah.
Go live.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so over here is when Wes got scratched, and this happened shortly after the cat ball got thrown. I didn't record, I just took a picture.
Well, that's interesting. That happened shortly after the cat ball got thrown,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, it was around that time area, I think when we were leaving. And then is the stream paused? That's fine.
Yeah, you have to click off. Click the screen. There you go. Anyway,
Hold
yeah.
on, I got one more image.
Okay. It was like we're like, it's gonna be 45 minutes, and then we sit here for an hour and 20 minutes talking.
Yeah. So then your stream is still running. Why did it stop? Okay. So this is the one kid that was with us in Sarah's room.
Oh gosh.
That you might hear in the background of the video. He's younger than I would allow to be with us.
Yeah, this right here is exactly why young children, or if you're not 18, why you can't go on investigations at most places.
So,
or if you do, your guardians have to sign a waiver for you.
I think Jason allowed it because he was with other people.
Well, he probably had his parents sign a waiver for him.
But he hung out with us majority of the time. He was a cool kid. He was like 14. He did not sound 14 though. So, I mean, that's probably why Jason allowed him in, because initially talking, he's tall. He's taller than me.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he's 18, and he sounds like he's older too. So there's that.
Yeah.
He was a cool guy, but he started like rubbing on his back like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "You okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I just feel like something just like touched me," or. And then I was like, "Are you okay if we check?" Kayla, I tell you this, nothing. There was nothing when Abby
It appeared in front of you?
It appeared in front of us because there was nothing there. I'm like, well, maybe you just might have like accidentally scratched yourself, because this was here, like the little scratches were already there. But I was like, well,
yeah, that's
maybe
the biggest red, like, that's a giant area.
Because
that's like his whole shoulder.
You just scratched yourself, and then out of nowhere, in front of Abby's and my eyes, this started to appear, and I was like, holy shit. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. Something did just like scratch you or grabbed onto you, because he was like, it felt like somebody just like touched me.
I've been scratched before. It feels like an electric shock, like just going down where they're scratching you.
And it's cold.
Oh yeah,
that's been my experience. It just feels like you're putting an ice pack on.
Skeptics would never.
It's just the wind in this building that's completely blocked off from the wind. Um,
Anyway, Arlington Hotel. Let's get back on track a little bit.
okay.
Those are cool photos.
I did want to show those photos because I couldn't. Me trying to describe it in the 40 seconds I had left, I just
Yeah.
couldn't fast enough.
Yeah. So, anyway, Arlington. Arlington will probably. I haven't seen the entire footage yet, so we have an editor who is. I gave her.
Currently working
Yeah,
on it.
the footage.
Supposedly.
Um,
Probably, I should say.
So I haven't really. I've seen like the basics of the footage, but I haven't seen it in detail. So I haven't listened to it or listened to the recordings or anything of that yet. And so I'm going to say, though, that this will probably be another place that is listed as inconclusive. And it's just because we didn't collect enough data to
Well, that cat
thoroughly.
balling off like crazy.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying it's not haunted. It's just that I feel like I'd be more comfortable collecting more data there first before.
Yeah, we are planning on going there again. We don't know if we will this year, but it's cheap enough.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that place. The only major thing that happened tonight was cat ball activity, which is obviously if cat ball activity is going off, then that's a positive.
I'll give it a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I was
haunting.
gonna say 3 or so. And I will say the cat ball activity. The video's not up yet, so you can't see this. It'll be up soon. The weirdest cat ball activity we've ever had. Normally, when you touch a cat ball, it's on for a minute and it turns off, and you touch it again, you're like, yeah.
This one's a broken one that I've been playing with all recording.
And you
but-
touch it again, it'll turn on. This
Yeah,
one was as if
only
somebody
way-
was holding it the entire time. And it just kept going on and on and on and on and on. It was like 5 minutes, I think, of just collectively staying on. And we're like, wait, this thing's not turning off. So it was super weird.
and then it stopped.
And then it stopped and it didn't do it again. And we're like, wow, that was interesting. So that's why I'm saying that I would like more data of that place. I do feel it's haunted, but it's going to remain an inconclusive state until we can get back in and do it again. So let's talk about 2024, start of this year.
Yeah, that was into 2023.
So
we haven't done much this year.
if
because
you're
it's-
new to us, we take a break from November. We let it slide because that was the only time they could do it was in November. So, but typically from November to February is our off season. We're not doing, or not off season, but it's our break. We're not doing any
One
investigations, any ghost stuff, nothing during those times.
One thing I will say about the owners of Arlington Hotel, nice people. Went to high school. The dude went to high school with our dad. So
Yeah.
small world.
Yeah, that's true too. It's so weird that he bought it from our uncle. And he
Well,
probably had no
he didn't
idea.
buy it. He bought it from the people that bought it after.
Oh, okay. So there
So
was
it were
another
two
owner.
people-
So it
or two
exchanged a
people
few
later.
times. Okay, I see.
But they knew who the previous owners are. They have the list.
Yeah.
So they knew
That
who
it
we
was
were
our
talking
uncle.
about.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah.
our great uncle.
Yeah, he's our great uncle.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. He died what, 2 years ago now?
I don't know. It was a few years back.
Yeah. But anyway, so 2020, so we take our breaks. January and February are typically reserved for if somebody reaches out to us to do private investigations. But
And
typically,
no one did.
no one did this year. Yeah, I was kind of surprised about that because normally we get a few people that are like, hey.
We did get an email though about a place.
Oh, yeah,
that
that's
they might
true.
want us to check
I
out.
emailed
So
them back.
We need to figure out if we're going to do that this year or not.
Well, I emailed them
Because-
back and they never emailed me and they don't have a phone number. It's just an
Okay.
email. But anyway,
Well, I could always.
I did.
I know her
Oh,
Facebook.
Yeah, maybe reach out to her on Facebook.
Okay.
Because I did email her, and I just some people are bad about checking their emails, and I think she might be one of them. Because I emailed her like maybe 2 weeks ago now, And she has not responded. So anyway, there was that. But starting, what was it, 2 weeks or yesterday, or was it a week? It was a week
It
yesterday.
was last week, and
Yeah. We went to Methodist Village again. That was our first
a
time.
private
Yeah,
investigation.
completely private, not public, first time ever. We've
Yeah,
been
it
going
was,
to this place in public investigations since 2021, which is when
yeah.
they first opened for investigations.
And it was 5 of us, including Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So the 4 people are part of the crew that goes on the investigations, and then Jason, and that's all there was in that entire building. And that building is huge. You will get lost if you don't know
Oh
where.
yeah, it is. Oh,
I know my way around
I
now.
kind of got a little bit lost because I got turned around, and then the second I got turned around, when me and Abby were doing our duos, I was like, wait, where am I? And I ended
I
up finding back where I was going, but I was like, oh god, where?
It took me a second when I first got there to figure out where I'm going, but after I think if I went in there like
Dykus and
today, I would
Auten,
know.
Dykus and Auten Center, I'm really familiar with, so I can get my way around there, pretty easily. But Wesley Center is not a place I'm all that familiar with, and
Yeah,
it's
but I could find my way around the entire building. Oh, a new
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 building.
old building. Mm-mm.
Not so much. That place is huge.
Well,
Um, but we
next time
didn't
we
really
go, we
go.
should probably go in the old building. We didn't go in the old building at all,
Well, okay, and
but
there's a
it's
reason for that.
dangerous.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. The new building is still relatively, compared to the rest of the building,
Okay.
okay. The old building has a lot of black mold issues now, and where the daycare used to be has asbestos. So we try to avoid that part of the building because it's dangerous for your health. You have to wear a mask to even go there, and asbestos makes it a big no-no. I'm pretty sure that basement's considered condemned at this point. You can't go down there because you'd be exposed.
The outside of that old building's so flippin' pretty, though.
Oh, I know, it really is.
We need to leave earlier so I can get a drone shot.
Oh, I know.
Because when we got there, it was way too dark, even if I did bring the drone.
Yeah. So, there, I guess I don't want to spoil too much because the video is going to be coming out
Yeah.
soon.
All I will say is
It was,
it was the first time in a while. It felt like my first investigation all over again.
well,
It was
I guess the best way to think about it is,
scary.
so when we got there, the first bit we walked into that door, it felt like all eyes were on us. Thousands of
was
people have died in that building.
heavy.
Very heavy.
Heavy.
We did find out later that the door we entered through was where the hospice center was, so that could explain some of it. But it was not like a feeling of sadness, heaviness. It was a feeling of, what are you doing here? And I think part of that is because that building over the past few years has been vandalized and broken into, and so there's shattered glass in some places now. And spirits, they know. And they are fucking pissed. And so when they first saw us come in, and it wasn't like with somebody that, like, yeah, I guess they would be familiar with.
We entered by ourselves because
We got
Jason trusts us
permission.
enough.
Yeah, we got permission.
He trusts us enough that he gave us the code to enter the building, so
Yeah.
we were just able to go in without him and
But
get
when
ready,
we
set up.
did, it felt like somebody, like,
Yeah.
it did not feel. And then before Jason even got there, Zachary and them saw like this really, Zachary and Wes saw this super threatening apparition. And I think part of that was,
chased.
yeah. Well, I think part of it was they were trying to scare us out of the building. They didn't know why we were there, and Jason wasn't there yet, and they were like, "You need to fucking leave." And then after Jason got there, it did seem like the threatening presences settled down at least a little bit. But it was still like they were going nuts.
And I do think some spirits recognized us.
Yeah, I do think they did too.
Because even though some of it was scary, some of it was very sweet
Yeah,
and
and that
loving
I want to
and
talk about that.
intelligent. I'm not
Yeah.
going into
I
detail.
was
This
like,
is
I
all
want to
I'm
talk about it,
saying.
but I want to talk about it after the video comes out.
Yeah, it was. Let's just say, thinking about it right now, I'm getting tears in my
Oh, I
eyes
know.
because
Zachary,
it
when
was so emotional,
it
but
was.
like in a good way.
So let's
We'll
move on.
just.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
I was about to say we'll just stop there until
Yeah.
the video's out, and
Okay.
then we'll talk more
We're
about
gonna
it in
talk
future.
about our new series, and this kind of ties into Methodist Village. So
And we'll have the clip shown for the intro,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Let me pull that up real quick.
Um, I'll talk about it a little bit. So Kayla's been wanting to do a history thing, a like segment of stuff, and the only way I agreed was if it was places that we already have planned to investigate. And when I say that, I mean we already have it booked. We are going, definitely going, unless something last minute, something crazy happens. We will be going. So I want the history videos to be places we have been or we are definitely going to. So that way you guys can know a little bit of the history before. I don't know if it's before or after the investigation will come out. I think that's still up to what Kayla is deciding.
Trying
I'm
to
gonna go
go.
full screen on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go full screen on it too. At least try. There we go. Okay, here we go. Imagine a time when laughter and conversation filled the air. A place where community thrived amidst well-tended gardens and friendly faces. This wasn't a scene from a distant past, but the reality of the United Methodist Village in Lawrenceville, Illinois, for over a century. Today, the village stands eerily silent, a testament to the passage of time. While its doors are closed and its halls empty, the stories within its walls remain. Let's take a look at the history behind the haunting.
I know that the paranormal is real. Listen.
So, talking about that clip, since it is Methodist Village,
Yep.
I did text Jason it.
Uh-huh.
It's not a impressive response. But he did give a response. He said, "That's really cool!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
That
Good
is
job.
enough. That is enough for Jason. That is, I like it.
Jason's reactions in person is a lot better than his
Yeah,
text
he's a dry
reaction.
texter. But I can understand for him that is, he was impressed. That's good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it will go well. I told her we need to update our paranormal one, and now that I'm talking about it, we should do one for the beginning of the podcast as well. Not exact
Yeah,
same, but
I'm wanting to
we
do
need a
something.
better intro for our podcast because it's usually just us starting out.
No, I agree. But so our new series, as we were kind of speaking about, it's called History Behind the Haunting, and it is basically a series that gives a more in-depth look into the places that we visit. The reason we want to do this is because we pride ourselves on being a team that educates people about the paranormal. So there are a lot of people that go into places and they kind of what we were talking about earlier, they make things appear super scary, or they talk about demons when they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. And it kind of gives us a bad name in that sense because not everybody wants their places to be associated with things like that. Other people don't believe in those things. And so it can come off as offensive to just go into every place and be like, there's evil in this building. And Methodist Village is definitely one of those places. There is a reason those spirits act the way they do. One, they're old people. Okay?
Yeah. And a cat.
Yeah, and, I will say, previous to when we went in a week ago, I never really, walking in there has always been intimidating. It's always felt like people are watching you, but I've never felt that kind of, I'm fucking watching you type thing. That, I feel, is new to that building, and I feel it was the spirits trying to protect the place. And part of that is because it's gone through 3 or 4 new owners now. Each one
trying to renovate it into apartments,
and
they don't realize how expensive it will
be, yeah.
fix that place. There's mold there. There's,
like we said, there's asbestos in the building. You have to contain the asbestos before you can even start with anything else.
Because the new building is separate from the old building,
Yeah.
but they're still connected.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll cost easily millions. to fix.
Honestly, if we were to go to the old building and another private, I would buy myself a respirator. Because
Jason
it's so
usually
bad.
wears one. He went in there by himself whenever we were doing our own investigation, and he came back. He had runny nose, sneezing, and stuff.
He should not have gone in there like that without anything.
He should have at least worn a regular face mask.
Yeah, but I think at this point that the old building has gotten so bad, regular face mask isn't going to cut it. You need a respirator.
Yeah, we used to go into the old building when we first went, and the church had all the chairs.
I have videos.
Still.
In fact, speaking of the history,
don't we have a video?
Yeah.
On our channel of you reacting to our first investigation.
Yeah, and the church is in there.
And it was so pretty. And
the history behind the haunting, I have those videos on it as well. So you'll be able to see that stuff as I talk about the history of the place. Now, what I was going to say is the history behind the haunting is a paranormal thing, obviously, but it is focused on the history. The plan is to release them around the same time we plan to release our paranormal videos. So our paranormal videos have some history in it, but it's mainly focused on here's a little bit of history, and then this is the stuff that happens to people in this part of the building. It's not a full in-depth history. So the history videos will be about 5 to 10 minutes each. Methodist Village is 10 minutes each, and it is a full dive into the history from its conception to its inevitable ending. It's honestly, when I watched it completely last night, I felt sad. I was tearing up myself. So and I think that's part of it is because I have an attachment to the building. We've been there a lot.
I think I've been there 7 times.
Yep. So
I think you've been there about
5
or 5 times.
Yep. There's only been 2 investigations at that place I haven't gone with you with, and that was because I was sick.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the place. I would consider it to be Castle House and Methodist Village.
I told Zachary last time, and he thought I was crazy. But last weekend when we got there, I said it kind of feels like I'm coming home, and I didn't mean that in the sense of I would live there.
We joked about it as because we're like, if this is what home feels like, you need to find a new place because we're going to there, and the building's intimidating.
It really, but that's not what I meant. I meant it in the sense of it's where our very first investigation was.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the place that brought us to where we are now. If we would have not have went there, if we would have went to anywhere else, like let's say we went to Mineral Springs first, we would not be paranormal investigators right now. I guarantee it. We would have been like, well, that was fun, but ghost or
it would have ended with it being a fun little series on my other channel.
Yeah, it would have been maybe two videos because we went to St. Charles, which I also feel like they misled it with their name because it was like St. Charles Ghost Tour, and
I
you go
will
there and
say
it's
though, after meeting the people he was talking about, I understand why he split from that group. I would too.
yeah, um,
Again, I'm not naming names or anything like
yeah,
that. I'm
no,
not
no,
gonna sit
but
here and
the thing
be
about the St.
defamatory.
Charles Ghost
It's not really
Tour
defamatory, but you know what I mean.
thing was I I would have just called it St. Charles History Tour because it's kind
Yeah.
of misleading.
The only thing I think the only reason you can even consider it paranormal is because it happens at midnight. He's giving a history tour at midnight. Or it was
Yeah,
9 o'clock.
he was doing a nighttime history tour, and it was good. Like
It
I
was
enjoyed it. I
cool.
loved the history
Oh
part, but
gosh, that place is a great place to go if you want to learn about history.
I wasn't really thinking. Like whenever we went, I thought we were gonna go into some buildings, maybe do an actual investigation. It
Yeah.
was not that. So I
No.
feel like the name's very misleading to try to get a little bit more money, but
But, you know, he
I
did let us conduct some investigation stuff here and there, but it wasn't like a paranormal
but it was
investigation.
outside, and it was like take a picture and send it to me if you think you might see something. And
Yeah.
Wes, I think I got something.
Yeah. Wes is really bad about claiming he sees apparitions on things. But I think he's gotten better. That was our first time. But
Hmm.
anyway, so the new series is for history, but it's also for people who can't. I mean, I know this is a paranormal channel, but there are people who are interested in the paranormal, but they cannot stomach to see paranormal things. It freaks them out. And so this series is another good series to where you can learn about the history behind the places we visit. And there's some spookiness aspect to it, but it's not really about the paranormal. It's about the history behind the places we visit and why the spirits act the way they do. When you know the history about a building, you can understand why the spirits behave the way they do. And so that's kind of what it's all about. That video will probably be up maybe today. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm
I
thinking
would
today.
rather us get it after we get the Arlington video up, so that way it comes out right.
I know, but I personally I mean, we said the same thing about Castle House and then we waited 3 or 4 5 months to get Castle House and then we never got Castle House. And then
It's up to you,
I had
but
to do that. So I'd rather just get the videos that we have already, get those up, and then when we get Arlington, we get Arlington. At the worst case scenario, Arlington and Methodist Village are released back to
around the
back.
same time.
Yeah, and
All right,
whatever.
because I don't want to wait another 4 months for Methodist Village to come out.
I already have started on Methodist Village.
Okay. All right, so
I just
are
haven't. I've been
we?
waiting for Arlington to get done before I really get into Methodist.
All right, let's finish up the history part and go to our finishing part.
Oh, that's really all. I honestly
Okay.
think that history behind the haunting, it's gonna be something that's a quick and easy video for people to watch.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
5 to 10
10 minutes. Yeah,
minutes.
that's not a lot. You learn some history about places. You're not gonna be too spooked because it's not a video that's supposed to scare you.
And then shortly after, you could go and click on
And
the actual
watch,
investigation and watch the rest of
and then you know the
what.
history and behind it.
All right.
Anyway, what do you want to talk about?
So I kind of want to end it on 2024 schedule, what we
Oh
have
yeah.
so
Okay, so
far.
2024.
So
I can pull up the
for
website.
yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Oh, okay.
So June 21st, we will be going back up to Lawrenceville for my birthday. That's not my birthday.
I forgot
but it's
about that
around-
one.
It's around my birthday. We will be going up, meeting up with Jason on a full moon.
Yep.
Ooh, because we went on a night where there was no moon at all.
And that
which,
was crazy.
so we're hoping that we will be going to Methodist Village again, but we're also going to be doing cemetery stuff too.
Yeah.
And then September 12th, we
Yeah.
will be leaving, taking time off work to go on a little paranormalcation.
You're leaving the
Um,
12th? Oh, that's the Thursday, isn't it?
yeah, we're not doing
Okay.
anything that day. That's just us traveling. We'll be going up to
This is definitely going
Iowa.
to be our bigger ones of the year.
Yeah, this is Castle House was our big one last year, and we're still going to Castle House this year, but I'll get to that a little later. Um, so September 12th, we will be leaving and heading up to Iowa. Um, we're going to go September 13th to Squirrel Cage Jail,
I
which
know
Kayla.
it sounds weird, but it's not a jail for squirrels.
Yeah,
Well,
we didn't really have a lot of choices because there was.
I did look into some of the history before booking there. People have caught
From what you've told me, it seems like a cool place.
it is a jail that it's one of the only jails that 360 rotation. So there was the jail and they turned it on an axle. It saved space. And back in the day it saved space. It was in a building. I was watching some history behind it. Back in the day, they made jails look like just regular homes because people didn't want to associate that there were bad people in the world. So it just kind of looked like a mansion or a home or something, even though people knew it was a jail. And then in this place, what they would do to save space is they would just rotate the inmates out, and then they would unlock and let them get out and do whatever they had to do. From what I've seen about the place, I would expect that if we catch any activity there, it's not going to be very welcoming activity. It sounds like these inmates kind of were like abused in a sense. There were reports of people's heads getting crushed when they rotated the jail. If they had their head sticking out, people would lose limbs. They talked about a guy who had a peg leg who would stick his leg into the jail to keep it from rotating. It was very squalid conditions, dirty. They had several people in one jail cell and one toilet between them, from what I'm understanding. They also said that this jail housed female inmates as well. So that's a little bit interesting. It'll be more interesting when we actually get to see there and see what it looks like. But from what I've seen, it seems like an interesting thing. And people online definitely say that they've caught some activity and it's haunted. And it's another one that is run through a historical society, like Cheney's, which makes me feel a little bit better about it. I don't know why, but I really like going to people who have, like, who are historical societies. Because, they're doing it to keep the preservation of the place. It's not a gimmick of pay me more money kind of thing.
All right, let's continue.
Yep, go ahead.
Then September 14th, the day after, the last Saturday that was available for us because we booked it a little late. Villisca Axe Murder House is, I think, how you pronounce it.
That's correct.
And
Zachary, do you know any of the history about that house?
from what I remember, because I've seen like other paranormal groups when we were kids go there. I think it was like one night a family of 8 got murdered by their own axe in the house.
Yeah, so a murder... I don't...
So a murderer came in, grabbed the axe.
They broke into their house, grabbed the axe, and killed everyone in their
all
sleep.
8 of them, and then left the axe back.
I don't...
Like, put it back.
It's been a while since...
I think that's what it was. It's
yeah,
they left
you got the gist of it. I don't know if it was a family of 8, though.
I could do this real quick.
Yeah.
Axe murder house.
They have a doll up in the attic that supposedly is haunted, I think. It's been a while since I've seen anything on it. And the more that I know of it has to do with the, like, history and crime side of it, because I'm really into those kinds of things. I'm a major history buff.
Okay. So, once a home to a family of 6.
Okay, it was 6. That's what I thought.
No. The Axe Murder House is now rumored to be home to ghosts and spirits. An unknown assailant killed 8 people in the Iowa home in 1912. The family and their 2 young guests.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, it was a family
No,
of
it was
6,
a
but
family of 6, but they had guests over.
it was 2 little girls. I think they were over for a
Like,
sleepover.
yeah, so and that the murderer was never found. That's
Yeah, the
another thing to
murderer was
remember.
never found, but they do believe that the murderer resides as a spirit in the home. So that'll be interesting if that's the case. I think it'll be the first time you ever see me, if that is the person who responds, not be so nice to a spirit. And that's because he's a murderer and he doesn't deserve my respect.
Now, I did post something on Facebook. Nobody got to it, so we'll leave it up there. Maybe if anybody does comment on it, we'll get to questions next time.
Yeah. We're going to do another one after probably the Arlington and Methodist come out. We may wait until after June for a cemetery run in Methodist Village again. And then we have 3 things to talk about.
That's everything I have.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, we're almost 2 hours into this when we said we were going to do 45
we'll edit
minutes.
some of this out.
Yeah.
And I want to get to my game.
Yeah, I got homework to do. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for supporting us as always. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And you can find us over at Facebook at St. Louis Paranormal Investigation Crew and on TikTok at STL Paranormal Crew. Again, thank you, and we'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.